My name is Ken Otieno, and I am the Executive Director at Reconcile, and also co-chair for the Regional International Support Group for the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists. This is a very important opportunity that we want to reflect both in the history of the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists, but also how that links to the work that Reconcile has been doing over the last 2.5 decades. The work of Reconcile around rangelands and pastoralists, as well as taking the approach of pastoralism, sustainable pastoralism, is something that has been at the core of our work for quite a number of years, and has also been the core of our work at Eastern Horn of Africa. Having this conversation today around the International Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists is something that really gives us a lot of pride, because it means that the advocacy work that has gone, that we have undertaken over the years, is something that has come to fruition. And looking at how this has been framed, it has been framed in such a way that it also defines the work that is supposed to be done for a period from January to December. And therefore, it also helps us in terms of even having a more structured conversation from the community level, regional level, and global level. And having that in mind, we are, as an organization and through the different regional and national spaces, we are organizing ourselves in such a way that we want to see how we are building the momentum towards the year 2026, following the declaration by the United Nations General Assembly last year in March to designate 2026 as the year of the Year of Rangelands and Pastoralists. And therefore, it gives us a lot of courage to see that there is now the appreciation, the focus, and the recognition that pastoralists are not just people who are moving from one place to the other, or pastoralism is not something that is just being practiced by some group of people who are not recognized, but it's a lively system that supports millions and millions of people, and it's also a system that has been in existence for over around 500 million years, operating side by side with agriculture. But if you look at the prominence that has been given to agriculture compared to pastoralism, you'll realize that agriculture has been given more prominence, has been given a lot of investment at the national, at the government level, and even at the regional level, even at the global conversations. What have we been doing since 2016, when this conversation all started? I would say that Reconcile has been involved in a number of dialogues at the national level, at the regional level, and also at the global level, advocating for the better approach and defining the issues that they need to frame the debate around the conversations on rangelands and pastoralists. And this has been part of the contribution that has given out the 12 themes that run from January to February. And therefore, at this point in time, we are working with different communities and different stakeholders and different regional bodies to continue this conversation in the run-up to 2026. Part of the processes or the initiatives that we've been doing includes supporting communities to form national level convenings and conversations. And for example, we just concluded gathering or supporting communities in Samburu to prioritize the issues that they want to engage with at the community level starting 2026. And these 3 issues that they have identified are also consistent with the issues that have been identified at the continental level, which is mobility, land and water security. The second one is looking at climate change resilience, and also looking at sustainable rangelands use and restoration. And of course, these are things that are consistent with the regional frameworks, the Africa 100, the Africa 2063, all have priority and focus in terms of seeing sustainable land use management and sustainable pastoralism. Second, in terms of what has also been happening is Reconcile, alongside other partners and organizations like the Atakere Cultural Center, among others, co-hosted the first African youth gathering in Moroto, which was done at the community level, presenting the opportunity for young pastoralists to come up with the issues that they want to highlight and issues that need to dominate the global conversation in terms of how the climate change, carbon credit or carbon markets, land degradation are all affecting the whole core of rangelands and pastoralists. And some of the things that are being advocated here are greater investments by governments, greater investments by donors, greater investments by international community in looking at how to deal with the issues of land degradation, all-inclusive or sensitive investments in rangelands. And these are things that are quite key in terms of promoting rangelands and pastoralism. Other than the community level engagement, there is the second level of technical engagement, which now brings in the aspect of research. And I want to say that Reconcile has established a technical think tank, a community of practice that brings on board researchers, the academia, practitioners to help us synthesize and process technical issues that are emanating from the conversations that are critical, which are at the core of rangelands and pastoralism. And one of them is land tenure. And the second one is being the issues of customary rights and indigenous communities, and including conflict. These conversations are not new, but these conversations needs to be aligned properly so that when we are engaging policymakers, when we are engaging donors, when we are engaging investors, we have a very clear roadmap and a very clear framework that helps the conversation be properly structured and be evidence-based. There has been a lot of interest in terms of integrating indigenous knowledge with conventional technology and ideas. But these ones can also just be done when we also dive deep into the community's practices. Because this indigenous knowledge are domiciled at the community level. And we want to see how we work with the communities to, one, document their practices, but two, identify what they define as good practices. And three, consolidate all these ideas to then produce something that we can now consolidate and say, this is the body of indigenous language and it represents the kind of issues that we would want to see taken forward. We see an opportunity that we now would want to call upon various actors, international community, the government, investors, as well as researchers to continue focusing on the issues around rangelands from a very informed perspective so that we can be able to make impact in 2026 and also move forward with a very clear decisions that are going to emerge to inform the subsequent conversations around rangelands and pastoralists. I want to emphasize on the priority that two issues which underpin this campaign and the priorities that have been taken up at the community level, but also at the continental level. And this is mobility and data. And firstly, why mobility is critical? Mobility in itself builds or facilitates building resilience for sustainable pastoralism. And this is something which is at the core of dealing with people, but also dealing with their resources. And therefore, it is something that we must, and we have given it the highest premium in terms of ranking on the 12 things. Engaging the communities, engaging investors, engaging governments, both in terms of investment priorities, actions, and also policy thinking towards mobility in the understanding that it supports pastoralism is something that is very crucial to us. And the second thing, which is also very important because it is what then helps policymakers make decisions and make policy decisions, but also governments to make investment decisions which are informed, is data. Reconcile currently is the regional focal point for the Land Matrix, which is a global initiative on looking at land accountability and looking at transparency when it comes to large-scale investments. And we are having a situation where it is only within the rangelands that we can talk of what is seen to be available land. And this land, sometimes there are a lot of things, many things are not taken into consideration. Firstly, where are they located? And what is the practice, what is the use of this land wherever they are? And sometimes if you look at the maps, how they have been designed or how they are presented, you will see a huge, space or landscape that seems to be, not occupied. But these are the places where investments then take place. And when they take place and at the detriment of the customary or the traditional practices or land use for these places. How do we ensure that data would then be helpful? Data will be helpful in this sense. One is that firstly we need to map and understand, know where what this land is currently, occupied, and what is it? Is it occupied? If it is not occupied, what is its status? Both in terms of suitability, usability, and also we can say, the sizes. And this is data that is important. And the second thing that data is supposed to help us with is to consolidate the value of rangelands and also the value of pastoralism. Because it presents the evidence based on facts. And therefore, it will help both for advocacy, but also for investment to ensure that there is evidence that demonstrates that if we are talking about land acreage, then we are talking about something that somebody can put a hand on, but not spaces or conversations that are not backed by data. And therefore, making a case for pastoral land data is something that is very important, just as we are making a case for pastoral mobility as something that then will build sustainable pastoralism.